Hi, I'm Jake from Northside Custom Crafts, and today I'm in the Rock-n H Woodshop with Drew Short. Today we're going to use his plans and make this Kreg Jig Cabinet. Stick around and see how we do it. 1, 2, 3, boom!
Well, what's up, guys? This is a special episode. I'm doing a special collaboration with Jake Thompson here from Northside Custom Crafts. He came all the way down from Amarillo to visit me and build a project. And what we're going to do, he brought his K4 Kreg Jig out here. Even though he's got a Foreman, I told him that we might need to do a little bit of upgrade for this sucker. So we're going to build my Kreg Jig Cabinet prototype that I've got right here, and we're going to make one for him for this particular model. So let's get kicked off, man. 1, 2, 3, boom! Alright, like I said many times, every good tool needs a good foundation. So Jake is going to cut the foundation as well as the tops for the jig cabinet itself. Now Jake's going to get to utilize the crosscut sled for the first time. We're going to cut the tops right now, and then we'll cut the base. And now we're just going to cut the base to length. Alright, now all Jake has just done is cut the base, basically the riser blocks for the Kreg Jig to set on. We've cut 4 of them, and what we're going to do is set the Kreg Jig on top of that. That'll be on top of the base. Then we're just going to take a measurement to the very bottom of the Kreg Jig itself to find out how tall we need to make the cabinets that flank each side. So now what we need to do is to find the center of the base, and we're going to line up those riser blocks to the exact center. So we're going to find the center of this, find the center of those, line up the reference mark, and then we're going to adhere them to the base itself. Now, just utilizing the 45-degree miter sled, Jake just cut us some 45-degree miters that we're going to use for the dovetail ways that the Kreg Jig is going to be mounted to. Now, because the surface area right here is very, very narrow, we're going to use some rapid fuse, basically like super glue, but it's DAP's version of wood glue. And it only sets up in like 30 seconds, so you don't have to hold it there very long. So if you're putting jigs together, I highly recommend using DAP. Now, with the leftover piece that we cut these dovetail ways with, this is just slightly bigger than the opening of this mounting bracket here. So Jake's going to take this and just take some little bitty shavings off using the same jig that we utilized a minute ago to make these dovetails. And once we have it right, this thing should just slide in like butter. So now all Jake's doing is finding the center of the mounting bracket that will go in these dovetail ways to mount his Kreg Jig to it. So you got to find the center of the bracket and find the center of your jig, line up the 2 lines, and then screw it down, making sure that the back edge of where your drill bit goes is flush with the mounting bracket itself. Don't worry about the back being flush. Alright, now all I'm going to do here is just put on a little paste wax because the fit that we have with the dovetail way is just a little bit snug, but I don't want to take any more off of it just because it may get a little sloppy. So I put wax on both sides, so let's see how it fits.
That's way better.
Now what comes next is making the cabinets that flank both sides of the jig itself. So the easiest way to figure out how tall your sides need to be is to take one of the tops that we've already cut, set it right on top of the base, put you a reference board in your jig, clamp it down, make sure it's nice and flat on both sides of the jig, and then measure from the top to the very bottom of this reference board, and that will be how tall the sides of the cabinet need to be. So now all that's left to do the carcasses is just to glue the tops down. We shaved off a little bit here and there on the side just to make sure that it clears the jig, about 1/8 of an inch on either side. So this is coming together quite nice.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Pressure. I feel like I need to eat a banana.
Good luck.
So now that the tops are put together, I've got Jake over at the table saw and we're going to start cutting the carcass pieces for the drawers. All right, now what we're going to do is make the grooves down in the bottoms of all the pieces of the drawer carcass itself to accept the 1/4 inch bottom.
We're going to put some plexiglass in here, so one width of the blade is the same as the plexiglass. So I'm going to have 3 dividers in here, which means we have 2 pieces of plexiglass.
And one thing that I did different on his drawer setup than mine is we ran the dividers lengthwise of the drawer. That way you don't have to pull the drawer all the way out to get to the very back. Everything's actually going to be all the way at the front. So this is actually a lot better setup. How's that drawer fit?
Pretty good.
Like a glove.
Like a glove.
Okay, now because of the hardware of the drawer pulls, they'll only go through a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood. So the drawer front, which is right here, is actually going to be sitting on the drawer carcass like this. Now, since the screw head is going to be sitting proud underneath this sucker, I've got to relieve a little bit of area on the drawer carcass itself to make room for that screw head. So I've just taken a 1-inch Forstner bit and just drilled out some oversized holes that only go down about 1/8 of an inch. That will give me plenty of room to help center this up without it catching on anything. Now, one last thing that I got to do for this particular mounting bracket, I had Jake go ahead and glue in a stop block, which is about 1/4 inch wide by 1/4 inch tall, and the length is just whatever you want it to be, just as long as it fits inside that area where this mounting block goes. And I've got my table saw now set up for 1/4 inch high and about 1/4 inch away from the blade on the outside of the blade, not the inside. So I have enough room to cover up that stop block. So now when we go to push this thing in, it will meet that stop block and won't go any further. All right, and just like that, once we have all the sanding done and the branding done, this thing is complete. Now, the original is right here in front of me. There's a couple things that I changed on Jake's here. For one, my drawers have the dividers going this direction. Jake's, however, are going this direction. So now he doesn't have to pull the drawers all the way out just to get to the stuff in the back. Everything is right in the front of the drawer, so they can stay inside the cabinet at all times if he wants. One other cool thing, and I'm kind of jealous of this little part, we extended the base by about 2 inches on either side, so now he can take a clamp and clamp it to his workbench on both sides, so now this thing will stay put and he doesn't have to worry about it. So I am very happy that Jake was able to come out from Amarillo and help out with his very own Kreg Jig Cabinet like I have made originally, and I hope you're going to get some use out of it.
I'll get plenty of use out of it, and when somebody comes over to my shop, we'll show them that.
Boom.
Boom.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed this collaboration between Jake and myself. We really had a great time making this. So if you have any comments, tips, or suggestions, please be sure and drop them down below in the comment section. You can check them both on my channel as well as Jake's.
Hey, I'm back in Amarillo now. I got my Kreg Jig Cabinet that Drew and I built. That was a real cool experience doing a collaboration with Drew. I learned a lot as far as woodworking and the filmmaking goes, and just working in somebody else's shop is a different kind of experience to have. But he made me feel totally comfortable in the shop. His wife April and the little boomer Hannah made me feel comfortable in their home, and I'm so grateful to you guys. I had an awesome experience doing this. So if for some reason you've never heard of Drew Short and Rock-n H Woodshop and somehow you're watching my channel, I'm going to put links to his channel and to his podcast and website and all that stuff in the links below and at the end. And here's my favorite part.
So that pretty much wraps up this particular episode. So thank you very much. We will talk to you on the next Rock-n H build. So 1, 2, 3.
Bang, bang, won't stop till we're legend.